The crypto bull market, where everyone feels like a genius and every single trade feels like free money. Now, just a few months ago, Bitcoin was breaking records. All coins were rocketing over 10x overnight, and optimism was through the roof. But fast forward to today, and it's a completely different story. Now, Bitcoin has corrected quite a bit, and some altcoins are down over 90% from their recent highs. Now, you see, crypto Twitter is filled with doom and gloom, and influencers who promised us $1,000 per SOL or $10,000 per ETH have gone completely quiet. So is this it? Did we already peak? Or is it just a temporary speed bump before the real rally begins? Hey everybody, my name is Josh and I'm a longtime host here on Coinsider, and today we're breaking down both sides of this argument. We'll discuss why some people think that the market has topped while others say that this is just a temporary correction. But by the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to decide for yourself. Where are we in the cycle and how to position yourself accordingly. All right, let's go ahead and start with the bear case, aka that the bull market is indeed over. So one of the clearest signs has got to be celebrity involvement. Now, historically, when mainstream figures start jumping into crypto, it actually marks the top of the market cycle. We saw this in 2021 with Paris Hilton and Matt Damon, and now it's actually happening again. Now, this cycle, we have Trump, Melania, and even sitting presidents have launched their own meme coins. But what happened afterwards? Well, they pumped and then they dumped over 90%. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. You see, Michael Saylor, the ultimate Bitcoin bull, just landed on the cover of Forbes. Historically, every single crypto figure who has been on that cover has gone down in flames. Sam Bankman-Fried, Do Kwon, even CZ. Now, this isn't just a coincidence though, because every cycle, the so-called main character in crypto gets thrust into the spotlight right before the market collapse. But anyhow, beyond that, another huge flag has got to be the ETF flows. So when Bitcoin ETFs first launched, they were pulling in billions of dollars and quickly became one of the most successful ETFs of all time. But now, those inflows have come to a screeching halt. 2 months ago, Bitcoin ETFs held $121 billion in net assets, but now that number has dropped to $110 billion. And the Ethereum ETFs, well, they're actually even worse. In December, they held $14.2 billion, but by February, that's dropped to under $10 billion. Now, perhaps this is all happening because of market sentiment. You see, BCA Research, which is a firm that has been bullish on crypto for over 2 years now, is now calling for the market top. Why? Well, that's because meme coins have gone absolutely parabolic, and all of the top finance apps in the App Store are crypto apps, and 90% of the Bitcoin supply is actually in profit. So historically, when you see all of these signs align, it actually means it's game over for the current market. But it's not just that, as Bitcoin's on-chain activity is also collapsing. Now, the mempool, which tracks pending transactions, has dropped over 99% since December, and that means that demand is absolutely drying up, and even Google searches for Bitcoin has collapsed. Now, last cycle, Bitcoin peaked with a Google trend score of 87 and held above 45 for months. Now, this time, the peak was just 66 and has already dropped below 22. So yeah, that is definitely not a good thing, but here is the thing. All coins aren't helping either. You see, in previous cycles, Bitcoin profits actually flowed back into alts, creating massive rallies. But this time around, that just hasn't happened. You see, liquidity is spread way too thin across millions of tokens across the blockchain, and a lot of projects just simply aren't coming back. We now have over 36 million crypto tokens compared to just a few thousand back in 2017. So that reality has actually been weighing down on altcoins all cycle long. All right, next we got to keep in mind all of the macro risks out there. Now, you see, the stock market is way too top heavy, with just 7 stocks driving most of the S&P 500's gains. Now, Warren Buffett himself is hoarding cash at record levels, which is a classic warning sign as well. Meanwhile, tensions between the US and China are continuing to rise, and the trade war with the EU is also looming. So if stocks take a hit, Bitcoin will most likely follow right behind it. But anyhow, after hearing all of that, you might be thinking, wow, this is bad. I gotta sell everything because the bull market is definitely over. But hold on just a second, because there is another side to this story. Now, that's a side that suggests that we haven't topped yet at all. First off, the key indicators that have called prior tops have not been triggered yet. The Pi Cycle top indicator, MVRV score, RHODL ratio, and pretty much every other on-chain metric out there all suggest that we have not topped yet. Now, if we go ahead and look at the 200-week moving average heat map, we can see that it hasn't even gotten close to overheated yet. So yeah, those metrics are one thing, but then there's liquidity. You see, in past cycles, stablecoin liquidity dried up before the crash, but this time it's actually still growing. Now, the total stablecoin market cap jumped 8.6% this month alone, and that's actually a massive inflow of new capital, which is waiting to be deployed into the market. Now, historically, Bitcoin thrives when liquidity is rising, so this is definitely a promising case for the bulls. Furthermore, institutional demand is still strong. You got BlackRock, Deutsche Bank, and Schwab all expanding their crypto footprint. And just recently, Charles Schwab actually created a new head of digital assets role over at their institution, signaling that major players are gearing up for another big move into crypto. Also, another strong catalyst could be the regulatory changes going on. You see, under the Biden administration, crypto was constantly harassed by regulators, but under Trump, well, that's a different story. Now, his administration is already exploring a Bitcoin reserve, tax incentives, and much friendlier regulations. Now, one of the biggest rumors floating around lately is a potential new stimulus check from Elon Musk's Doge activities. Now, reports suggest that American citizens could receive up to $5,000 each from Doge's cost-cutting activities. So, if that actually happens, it would actually inject billions of dollars into the market like it did during COVID back in 2020. And that would actually fuel one of the biggest rallies we've ever seen. But even if that doesn't happen, another overlooked catalyst has got to be the FTX repayments. You see, the FTX collapse actually locked up $16 billion in crypto assets. But now, creditors are finally getting repaid, and a recent survey found 79% of FTX creditors plan to reinvest what they get back into the crypto market. That's actually billions of dollars potentially re-entering the market in the coming months. Anyhow, with all of this being said, let's go ahead and revisit my original question. Is the bull market really over? Well, in my opinion, it depends if you're looking at Bitcoin. The indicators suggest that there's actually still room to run. The data points to a final push towards $150,000 per Bitcoin, which could be the real cycle top. But for altcoins, things look much weaker. There's too much dilution, too many bag holders waiting to sell, and not enough fresh liquidity entering the market. If Bitcoin makes one last move higher, then altcoins will likely rally, but many of them may never see their all-time highs ever again. So the key takeaway here is that we are late in the cycle. If you've made your gains, now could be a good time to start planning an exit strategy. Bitcoin may still have one more final push to the upside, but the easy part of this run is likely over with. That's why if you want to make the most out of what's left in this cycle, then you've got to prepare and make a plan in advance. Now, I spent a lot of time preparing my own crypto investing plan for 2025, and if you want to see what it is, then just go ahead and watch this video right here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.